Cowboys Nation, take a deep breath because what we are talking about today is not just another offseason rumor, not just another splashy headline designed to grab clicks, but a moment that could genuinely redefine the future of the Dallas Cowboys and potentially alter the balance of power across the entire National Football League. Because reports in League Buzz are exploding around the idea that the Cowboys have landed Tyreek Hill in what is being described as the biggest signing in franchise history, a move so massive that it immediately sends shockwaves through the NFC, the AFC, front offices, locker rooms, and fan bases alike, and whether this ultimately becomes official or not. The implications alone are worth diving into in full detail because Tyreek Hill is not just a wide receiver, he is a force of nature, a player who changes defensive game plans the moment he steps onto the field, a player whose speed literally bends coverage schemes, forces safeties to play deeper than they want to, like corners to give more cushion than they are comfortable with, and linebackers to hesitate just long enough for an offense to exploit every inch of space. And when you start to imagine that kind of weapon wearing the star on his helmet playing in AT&T Stadium paired with an already elite receiver like CeeDee Lamb and a quarterback like Dak Prescott who thrives when defenses are forced to pick their poison, you begin to understand why fans are calling this historic, why analysts are calling it franchise altering, and why this could go down as one of the boldest moves Jerry Jones has ever made in his long tenure as owner and general manager. Because for years, the Cowboys have been accused of playing it safe, of building primarily through the draft, of avoiding the type of aggressive, all-in superstar acquisitions that other contenders have used to push themselves over the top. But this move, this idea of bringing Tyreek Hill to Dallas would signal something very different. It would signal urgency, belief, and a willingness to risk future flexibility for immediate greatness, and that alone is enough to make this one of the most talked about Cowboys stories in recent memory, because Tyreek Hill's resume speaks for itself. Multiple Pro Bowls, All-Pro selections, seasons where he has completely taken over games, highlight reel touchdowns that look like something out of a video game, and a reputation among defensive backs as one of the most terrifying matchups in football. Not just because of his speed, but because of how intelligently he uses it, how he sells routes, how he finds soft spots in zone coverage, and how once he gets the ball in his hands, angles stop mattering. Pursuit breaks down, and one missed tackle can turn into 6 points in seconds, and when you consider how much attention defenses already have to devote to CeeDee Lamb, a receiver who has established himself as one of the best route runners and contested catch threats in the league, the thought of pairing him with Hill becomes almost unfair, because defenses cannot double both players consistently. They cannot bracket both sides of the field without leaving someone else wide open, and that is where this move becomes truly dangerous, because suddenly the Cowboys offense would no longer rely on sustained drives alone. It would become explosive, unpredictable, and capable of scoring from anywhere on the field at any moment, which is exactly what separates good teams from championship teams in today's NFL. And for Dak Prescott, this could be career-defining, because quarterbacks are often judged not just by their talent, but by the weapons around them. And while Dak has already proven he can put up numbers, give him a receiver like Tyreek Hill, and you are talking about an offense that could stress defenses vertically and horizontally on every snap, opening up running lanes, creating easier throws underneath, and allowing Dak to play faster and freer than ever before. And that is why fans are losing their minds over this, because they understand that this is not just about adding another name to the roster. It is about fundamentally changing how opponents prepare for Dallas every single week, because no defensive coordinator wants to be the one who has to explain why Tyreek Hill got loose 3 times in a game, and no team wants to enter a shootout knowing that Dallas can score in 2 plays while controlling the clock when needed. And then you add in the broader context of the NFC, a conference that has seen power shift year after year with no single team maintaining dominance for long. And suddenly the Cowboys with Tyreek Hill become a team that everyone circles on the schedule, a team that national broadcasts prioritize, a team that carries legitimate Super Bowl expectations rather than just playoff hopes. And of course, with a move this big, the questions and debates come just as quickly as the excitement because nothing in the NFL comes without risk, especially when it involves massive contracts, salary cap maneuvering, and long-term planning. And people are right to ask how the Cowboys would make this work financially, what restructures would be required, what future flexibility might be sacrificed, and whether committing so much money to one position could impact other areas of the roster. But those questions are part of what makes this moment so fascinating because it suggests that the Cowboys believe their window is now, that they believe their core is strong enough to justify pushing the chips to the center of the table, and that they are willing to deal with future consequences in exchange for present opportunity, which is exactly the mindset of a franchise that believes it is one piece away. And that belief alone can change the culture of a team because players feel it, coaches feel it, and opponents feel it. And then there is the emotional side of this for fans because Cowboys fans have lived through decades of hype, heartbreak, promise, and frustration. Through seasons where the team looked unstoppable on paper but fell short in January. And the idea of landing a player like Tyreek Hill represents hope, not blind hope, but tangible, measurable hope rooted in proven production and elite talent. And that is why social media is buzzing, why message boards are on fire, why debates are raging about whether this is genius or reckless, because deep down everyone understands that this is the type of move that can either define an era or haunt a franchise if it goes wrong. And yet championships are rarely won by playing scared. They are won by teams willing to take calculated risks. And if the Cowboys believe that Tyreek Hill is the missing piece that unlocks their offense and elevates them from contender to favorite, then this move makes sense in a way that goes beyond spreadsheets and projections because football is ultimately about matchups, momentum, and belief. And Tyreek Hill brings all three in abundance. And even beyond the X's and O's, the star power alone would be enormous because Tyreek Hill in Dallas would dominate headlines, drive jersey sales, bring primetime attention, and further cement the Cowboys' status as the most talked about franchise in sports, for better or worse. And Jerry Jones has never shied away from that spotlight. He understands the business side of football as well as anyone. And a move like this would resonate far beyond the field, energizing the fan base, increasing national interest, and reinforcing the Cowboys brand as one that aims big, dreams big, and is not content with being merely relevant. And while skeptics will point to potential injury concerns, chemistry questions, and the challenge of integrating another superstar into an already established locker room, those challenges are not insurmountable, especially when you are dealing with veteran players who understand what is at stake, players who know that windows in the NFL close faster than they open, and who are hungry to seize an opportunity when it presents itself. And if this signing does indeed become official, it will mark a clear turning point, a moment where the Cowboys stop talking about the future and start attacking the present, where excuses fade and expectations skyrocket. And that is why this story matters so much, because it represents more than just a transaction. It represents intent, ambition, and a declaration that the Dallas Cowboys are done waiting, done hoping, and ready to chase greatness with everything they have. And whether you are a diehard Cowboys fan, a skeptical rival, or a neutral observer who simply loves the drama of the NFL, you cannot deny that the idea of Tyreek Hill in a Cowboys uniform is one of the most electrifying possibilities the league has seen in years. And as this situation continues to unfold, one thing is absolutely certain. The conversation is only just beginning, because if history has taught us anything, it is that when the Cowboys make a move of this magnitude, the ripple effects are felt everywhere, and the road ahead filled with anticipation, debate, and endless speculation. is exactly the kind of road that leads to legendary moments, unforgettable seasons, and stories that fans will be talking about for decades to come.